Welcome back to RLCS Overtime. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just got done talking to Subi about his life. You know, just some nice bro time here.
Opened up to you.
Yeah, you know, just had a great time. You guys will see it later, I'm sure. But now, gotta talk about the North American Promotion Relegation Tournament between the bottom two teams from the RLCS and the top two teams from the RLRs. Take a look at the bracket. Here's how it's all gonna go down. It's a double elimination bracket. You'll see the two teams play each other. They have the four teams playing each other there, and then the two teams in the winner bracket, the winner of that match will just straight up qualify. So it's kind of, it's a double elim, but not like a technical double elim, because one team will just straight up qualify through the lower bracket, as you can see down there at the bottom. So you do have a second chance if you lose that first round matchup. It's not like the RLCS qualifications for LAN, where it's just one round here. You do get two shots to make it in, but two of these teams will be in RLCS next season. Two of those teams will be in the RLRs, which is just crazy.
Think of it this way. You have to win 2 matches.
Yes.
That is your requirement. You have to win 2 matches, so you have to beat 2 of the 3 teams that are in this promotion relegation
It's kind of almost like a Swiss.
It's like 1 game away from a Swiss.
Yeah, like it's very similar. Like you will almost always be playing the teams that have kind of the similar record as you know, as you move forward there. So good stuff, and we want to break down each of these matches in particular. And we want to start with Out of Style versus Allegiance, and we can start here with the Allegiance story. This team had a good, they had an upset in the qualifier, and to make it into the RLCS.
Huge upset.
Yes, and then we all wondered, like, how are they going to perform? And the thing about Allegiance, they were like 1 game away so many times from winning. They had so many game 5s, they did so well, but just could not pull it off in the end. Had a kind of lackluster season, and now here they are.
I mean, consistency and pressure are the things that you see teams build up over years. And that's where you see a lot of things fall. We use them as a prime example. G2 is one of those, where consistency and pressure is something they're still learning. And we see them week after week. We have to question, which G2 is it? And everyone gets sick of the storyline, but then all of a sudden they lose again. Yeah. We're like, well, this is why we're so, like, not confident in which one we're going to see. And I think that takes years. So you see a team, you know, like Allegiance, clearly they have the individual skill, they can work well as a team. Some of the top plays that we saw in a week would be from this roster. The guys know what they're doing, but it really is like, how do you deal with the pressure when you're in a game 5 situation where you're 1 game away and you don't do a great job? Or how do you just deal with being consistent week after week and making sure you're getting the right kind of practice?
Yeah, totally. And you hear this, their 1 win, they were 1-6 in league play, ended in 7th. Their 1 win came against FlyQuest, which they were able to win 3-1. A team that we heard Kronovi talk about in overtime. He was very hot on FlyQuest, thought that they would be doing really well. They ended up in 6th right there, just above Allegiance here. But Seabass and company, they were just, they had the craziest pass plays when they were having good days, but when they were off, they just could not get it going together. I mean, the double taps you see Tyler point off there, absolutely quality stuff.
Ty, not Tyler.
Oh, that's right. It's just Tyler.
Against three-way punk. But really, we're blessed with teams like PSG that just come together with 3 new teammates and have fantastic seasons, and the synergy is, you know, just like so visible between the 3 players. And that when you have a team like, you know, Allegiance, excuse me. It's really not that big of a surprise to see that they do have some growing pains. And I think that even for their first season together, they did make some big team changes the season before, right? I think that they had an admirable performance.
Yeah, but they only got swept twice in league play out of all their 7 series. They only had to sweep twice, so they were able to get wins considerably, and they took it to game 5 a number of times there too. So very close to a different season there from Allegiance. You know that they're going to be a huge threat as they move in here, and they'll be facing off against Out of Style. This is a team that preseason we were thinking possibly had RLCS hopes. Got some big names here. Justin, a player that was huge, and Lachinio in particular, a former world champion player. You know, talk to us about the journey of Out of Style here through the rival series.
Out of Style, you know, they started off week 1, and you're checking out some awesome plays right there. Lachinio, obviously capable of some amazing stuff, but week 1, game 1, they had to face Fibion, and that's not the best way to open up your rival series debut against the best team that there is in the league. But after that point, they didn't drop 1 single game, or 1 match rather. So I mean, the fact that they just learned from that, it looked like. There were still some shaky plays time and time again. Yeah. But I feel like Justin, he's going to be a name to look out for. If you watch the rival series at all, he was insane. And he reminded me a little bit, he had a little bit of Squishy in him. He's a little squishy.
Whoa, Squishy.
I mean, it's
I don't know
funny
how
you say
he feels
that.
about being called a little squishy.
I think Squishy was like actually cheering for him, saying Justin is one of the players that when I was grinding and starting to really improve, Justin was one of the players I did it with, and people don't know about him, but they're sleeping on him.
Yeah, and the thought, how do we just collectively here feel about Lichinio now? This is a guy who was a former world champ, and he took a long time off, and this has kind of been his return tour, trying to get back to this former glory he had then. He was an MVP at times, you can see. How do we feel about Lichinio right now?
Honestly, just from my experience, like getting to meet him there in season 1 and talking to him just over the years, he has just such a great personality. He's such a humble guy, no matter how good he was. I mean, he was, for the longest time, there was like this famous aerial gif that went around on Reddit.
I know, sure.
And it was before we knew what air dribbling was, before anything was going on. The dude was just air rolling for no reason. It was the most beautiful thing we've ever seen, and it was Lichinio that started that.
Yeah.
He has kind of paved the way for a lot of the ridiculous mechanics that happened through season 1 because he was just so sound. But again, he wasn't able to keep up just being consistent. But I think him being super humble, it really works well with him, like working well with his teammates. I think just being like, generally, I see a lot of players that get to their head sometimes, especially when they're in like the RLRS. They're like, well, I'm the best here. I deserve to be the best. But I think he's still in like a phase where he's like, I just want to improve because he knows that he's kind of fallen from his throne.
Sure.
And I think he's got high hopes. I mean, obviously he's had it before, so he can get it again.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of putting in the time.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that match moves. How that match ties itself up. That's the word I was looking for there. Moving on, there's the other sentence I was trying to say. Thibian versus Renegades. Thibian undefeated here in the RLR. It's going to be going up against Renegades, who have had just kind of a rough few seasons here in RLCS. They barely squeezed their way into LAN in season 3, and then they did not have a very good performance there. And now here, coming out in the bottom, they have the worst win percentage in the league, actually. Allegiance had a better win percentage than them, even though they both went 1-6 here. So Renegades, first team we want to talk about in this matchup. How do we feel about Dapper and company?
I mean, I was talking to Quinn. I want to hear what Quinn has to say first, and then we'll go off of what he has.
About Renegades? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dapper
so ready.
is the man, all right? Really, one of the greatest players, I think, and he doesn't deserve to be in RLRS, and I think that he could go and easily find any team and just about improve it in some form. I didn't think this used to be the case, but now I think he's really grown as a player. I think a big problem they had was Moses. I don't think he really fit in with the team very well. I think Timmy doesn't have enough time to dedicate to the game to the level that maybe Dapper is striving for, and I think that just... You might need to make some team changes there for something to happen. I don't think they need a full rebuild. Dapper is still good enough. And I think with Timmy alone, or even with Miho, I think those three could go compete again and be just fine.
But they tried to make the change at the end of the season, bringing in Miho, who's also been in a sub role the whole time. And
too
it's just
little, too late. I mean, you know yourself that the substitute doesn't do anything throughout the season. It's very rare that they have any serious impact. It's a 3v3 game, and you practice as that main 3.
Tell that to Turbo Pulsa.
Yeah, he did. I mean,
Turbo Pulsa at the time, I think, was the best player in the world. So
we've seen some subs have some big differences
you can
here,
have impact,
but it doesn't happen every time. And oftentimes, what more happens is the story.
The subs usually also don't come in the last second, the last game of your series. Like right before you're about to get knocked out. Huge pressure. He hasn't played in forever. It's a really different situation. But I do think that Renegades needs to make some changes. I do think that they can stay in RLCS.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, but they have to first. Their first trial is going to be Thibian, a team that everybody expected to have. This is the team that Allegiance upset to get into the RLCS. So you know that Thibian's out for blood, and they proved it with their run of going completely undefeated. Thibian's run. I mean, was there anything other than just going up for Thibian here in the rival series?
Not at all. They lost a total of 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 games. It's out of the entire league play. That's 5 weeks of play, and they only dropped 4 games. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. They were first in goals per game, assists per game, and second in shots per game. They just put a ton of pressure on teams, and I don't feel like the Renegades are going to be able to deal with that at all.
Yeah, it's weird because I predicted Fabian to make it into the RLCS really early on. I said this is going to be a successful team, but I do think that Fabian is going to edge out Renegades if they don't figure out the situation with Moses versus Miho.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they put together crazy plays. I mean, like this, you just watch the goal from Chicago. This is the angle he finds here to find right dead center of the net. They're already got the win. He just secures it there. This is the sort of stuff that we said preseason. We're like, clearly this is a team that can find it. Yeah,
That goes crazy. That's my authentic reaction right here. I haven't seen this goal one.
It's like literally on the wall almost. The ball is touching the wall.
You can see his shadow literally on the back wall. That is incredible.
Okay, so
and the biggest difference I see between them, I think, is cohesion.
Sure.
You'll see Fibian, they work so well as a team, and I think Renegades, they struggled. And I don't know what it was, whether it was maybe one person didn't match well with the roster, or they just weren't practicing. Maybe their playstyles just don't work out. That is still a problem. It's really ethereal, so it's hard to pinpoint. But sometimes playstyles just don't mesh well. But I think Fibian, they work so well together. I mean, 4 games all season. That is like a record that you need to be scared of.
Now, we got to head to break here, but I want quickly from you guys just a quick prediction. Which 2 teams are making it in from the promotion relegation system carpet?
I think Fibian
is
going to make it, and I think Allegiance are going to stay.
Fibian and Allegiance.
Yep.
I actually am going to be the same. I'm going to say Fibian and Allegiance. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and ride that train and go Fibian. And
Wow. I'm on the train too. You can boost. All right. Full train here. Everyone believing in Fibian and Allegiance right now. Out of Style and Renegade's going to give them a run for their money. Going to try and pull it off, guys. It's going to be a crazy tournament. We all predicted the same thing here, but it could easily go the other way. Anything can happen in a tournament like that. Now, when we come back here to overtime, going to do the same thing, just over in Europe. Talk about Fnatic and the boys, all the teams over there in that promotion relegation tournament. We'll be right back after the break.